Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Sometimes you are perfectly prepared for a battle in Dragonlance. Your fighters are healed up, they're even wearing the cloaks of displacement, and with enough pluses on their weapons to get their THAC0 effectively to 0. Your ranger has his composite bow of accuracy and more than enough +2 arrows. Your cleric, ready to heal any ailments that might come up and maybe even cast a blade barrier or two. In front of you, a horde of draconians. So what do? Simple. You cast Delayed Blast Fireball, obviously, only to discover that you misjudged the distance. Oops, you got your own party too. Oh great, the draconians are exploding. Guess I'll just die then. Welcome to Dark Queen of Krynn. Go on an epic adventure as you rise up in levels to almost godlike status, all to hunt down and defeat the evil Takesis before she can conquer the world of Krynn. Gather gear and loot, maximizing out your party, and then die, sadly, to poor positioning or rolling poorly on initiative. But it doesn't matter, because you can always load that save file that you 100% remembered to make, right? Right? You definitely did not forget to save the game in the last hour plus, did you? Alright, fine. After a short weep, you get right back on that mount and get after it, because there's an entire world out there relying on you. But also work on your aim, and underwater fights kinda suck.
Recall.
Welcome back to Retro Recall, the show with more nostalgia than remembering the first time you cast Fireball just a little bit too close to the rest of your party.
Those things will happen.
Or the second time.
Those things will happen.
Or the it still happens.
You do it a lot. It's part of the game.
Yep. But hey, we're talking more D&D, John. What are we discussing today?
Today we're going to the last of the gold box games, Dark Queen of Krynn, which I will admit, adolescent John, or I guess it would be preteen John, whatever. It's puberty John bought it for the box cover.
Yeah,
I'll admit that one.
Yeah, I posted some screenshots of the game earlier this week on my socials because I'm so enamored. I mean, this is going to come up in our discussion of like the VGA 256 color graphics, but then it also included the cover. And I was like, booby lady on the cover is doing a lot of heavy lifting for getting people to play this game.
Yep, it worked.
Especially young men. Yep,
it worked. Anyway, but there actually is some drama on the game, and we're going to be covering that as well. But yeah, let's get into this.
Yeah, so take us back in time. What year is it?
All right, so this game came out in January of 1992. I think it was actually January 1st of 1992. It's MS-DOS, obviously. Mm-hmm. The number one song in America is Black or White by Michael Jackson, and that's a minefield I'm not willing to navigate. So we're going to move quickly on from that to because it's the 90s, and we actually got really good music in 1992. 1992 gave us Rage Against the Machine, their debut album. It gave us Psalm 69 by Ministry, Pantera's Vulgar Display. You get Bad Religion, No Effects, and Social Distortion. Then on the alternative side, REM, Acoustic or Automatic for the People comes out. The Cure, I get Wish. Pavement does Slanted and Enchanted, which is a very, very good album. And of course, maybe the biggest of the bigs, Nirvana, Nevermind. Yeah. This is a huge year of music and things changing. So we didn't have to stick on Black or White from Michael Jackson.
Yeah, right. I mean, this was a very formative year for me as a young person who eventually became a musician and was super into music. Even things like, I remember I have Wish on tape. The Cure's Wish I had on tape.
Yeah.
And I remember because I was still young at the time and I was like, you'd hear things on the radio or on MTV and like Friday I'm in Love was on that. Right. And I'm like,
is that what album that's on? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now
and I was like, oh, that's a happy like song. Okay, cool. And then you turn on the album and it is dark. It is dark. It's really noisy. And I was like, that one was super intriguing to me. I was like, wow. But it wasn't angry like punk or metal. It was just really, really dark and and then also the REM album, like Automatic for the People.
Automatic for the People is REM. Again, not my music, but I have nothing but respect for REM. They're one of those bands that you're like, okay, I may not like them. It's the same as like Radiohead. I don't like Radiohead. Yeah. But I recognize a label like Radiohead, and I understand why they like Radiohead. I just don't like Radiohead.
You and I are like, we're Venn diagrams where a lot of the stuff overlaps. Like you bring up these punk bands and I'm like, I listen to those punk bands. Or you bring up certain metal bands and I'm like, Rage Against the Machine's on my list of stuff that I'm like, this is really good. But stuff like Pantera, I never really listened to too much.
You need to have anger issues. Yeah, it helps.
But also from a musician standpoint, I get it. Like I get it. There's cool stuff going on there. I get it. Yeah. Same kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, that's the luxury of like the not hit me. Oh, it'd be fair. Hit music, those people are talented, but what's more fun is the indie stuff. Because even within the indie world, you're like, okay, I don't like emo, or what really became emo later. A lot of the formative part of it was in this era, but I respect it. Like Modest Mouse. Right. Do I like Modest Mouse? Right. Not really. Do I respect Modest Mouse? Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Both of us probably not big fans for country music, but there are country musicians that I absolutely respect. And I'm like, country. They're doing cool stuff, especially some of the older stuff. But this is country's
tough because country can be super punk rock when it wants to be. And it's amazing when it is. Right. And other times it's the inverse of that, which is when I think it sucks.
Yes. Absolutely. Well said.
But a hardcore, like a country where it meets old school folk music is a magical place.
Right. Or bluegrass. Man, bluegrass is just country metal.
Yeah. I mean, there is some of the stuff and some of the lyrics you get out of those are truly magnificent, but I digress.
Anyway, all right. Moving on.
Movies real quick. It's January, so the box office is kind of blah. It's just all the leavovers from December. Top in the box office was Hook, which is probably still quite good. I haven't seen it in forever, but I'm assuming Robin Williams, Steven Spielberg, and what I remember of the film, it was good.
Yeah, and a bunch of kids yelling Rufio. Yeah.
Exactly. There's no sadly good action blockbusters. There's just kind of weird stuff like Prince of Tides, My Girl, and JFK. Oh, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. These are not good films. Well, fine. Then you have Father of the Bride, which is depressing when you realize that the people in that are Tom and my age.
Right.
The parents in Father of the Bride are our age.
Yeah. Mid-40s used to be old.
In the house. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Nope. Not one time have I had guests in my home and I was wearing a suit. I wear a suit to work, which means I come home in that suit. I won't even speak to the guests in my house till I go upstairs and change out of said suit.
Right.
No.
Right. These are work clothes. These are not anything else. Yes.
Yeah. You did get The Last Boy Scout. That's terrible. The Addams Family, which was good. This was one of the good Addams Families. And then Beauty and the Beast. Again, not Disney person. The only one I will make note of, it came out there, was a funny one to me, is they made Star Trek 6, which is Undiscovered Country. And the rumor on that movie is that they only made it because the last one they made, which was The Final Frontier, the fans disliked so much that Shatner and them were like, we have to make another one. We're not going out like that.
We can't go out on this.
That is the rumor. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard it a few times.
I very vaguely remember The Final Frontier being named like that and people talking like, is this the last ever Star Trek film?
It was supposed to be, but it had these like really weird overtures that were basically almost too religious for a lot of people. It was it was kind of an odd movie. So they made Undiscovered Country, which was actually more of a comedy than any other one they'd made prior. It's not bad, despite the fact everyone is ancient. It is,
right.
It is, you are, whoa, we are pushing it. They actually do the Lethal Weapon where they're on their way to retirement when the whole movie breaks out. So,
right. So let's just acknowledge that everybody does look old. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. I think you can hear the dentures a few times. But anyway, let's get back into Dark Queen of Krynn. So last week, we talked about how Strategic Simulations won the TSR contract to make the D&D games, and they went to town, making some of the greatest adaptations of Dungeons and Dragons of all time. And the first game, though, Pool of Radiance, came out in 1988. So now we are 4 years of improvements. And just people are saying 4 years of improvements in 2026 may not seem like that much because of stupid Bitcoin mining. None of us could afford better graphics cards. But we didn't have that in the late 80s.
Right. And game development takes 5 to 7 or 8 years at this point. So like 4 years is just part of the development cycle. Yeah. But they between 88 and 92, they released how many games?
I think 8 games or 9 games.
8 games?
It's
that's
a
intense.
Lot.
Yeah.
And every release, the graphics were getting better because this was an era where, especially on PC, your capabilities were going up massively. I mean, for example, the first games were on floppy disk.
Right.
Floppy, 5.25.
Right.
And the later games were on 5.5. The later games were on
3.25. Right.
Yeah, 3.25. Yeah. So they were not CD-ROM. They were not CD-ROM.
Right.
But we were moving in those directions. We were getting a lot more advancements. So, for example, we now had 256 colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which is way more than, by the way, Nintendo or Sega Genesis had. So this is kind of that inflection point, especially for those of us who are old PC gamers. This is why a lot of us started moving to PC, because the visuals were so much better. You also had more storage, all these things. Now, as we're getting there, they've added in animations for spells. The walls are cleaner. The graphics are just tighter everywhere. Mm-hmm. For me, one of the bigger pieces, too, is they've moved into the Dragonlance setting, which is, I'll just tell people now, that's my favorite D&D setting. And so I'm just going to double down how this is awesome at this point.
Yeah, we both talked about it a little bit on last week's episode, but we both read the Dragonlance novels. We were into that setting as kids and teens. And that seems like a smart thing to do because right around that time, those novels had taken off. People were looking for more Dragonlance stuff. Yeah.
And Dragonlance was, Forgotten Realms was kind of your original setting. Sure, people played Raven, whatever the hell it's called.
Ravenloft?
Ravenloft, but their true one is Dragonlance. I think was where a lot of us were going because it had more dragons. It's always a good win. Yeah. But this game will have some controversy, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the good and the bad. But before we do, let's get into First Time Back. As I said before, I played this in 2024. Like last time I played this would have been 2024. So like it's not really a first time back. It's like John's back again.
Right. It's not John just lives here. He just leaves to go do other things every so often.
Hang out here. Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, we're going to this really great restaurant. The one I can see from my front door. Yeah. All right. I mean, I like it. I'll join you there. But I'm not going to like, wow, can you believe it tastes like this tonight? Yeah, I can. I'm here a lot.
It still tastes the same as the last time, which wasn't that long ago. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. But how about you, Tom? What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, this was new to me, just like last week. So because I haven't played any of the Gold Box games. Somehow I missed out on all of these. I don't know. But the jump in the 4 years, the thing that really stands out to me is that improvement to the graphics. Like when it shows scenes of a character or like the buildings or any of that stuff, you have the shading of the different colors. You can tell that somebody probably sketched a drawing and then they pixelized it and got it as close to that drawing as possible at a much lower resolution. But you can tell that there is legitimate art design going on. And they're finally able to really express that. Even with the little models of the characters in combat, you have so many different colors. Like the last one we talked about, you could change 2 colors on the shirt or 2 colors on the pants or the different hair colors or whatever, or change the little head. And there were only so many different options and they all just kind of pieced together. Now you have a whole selection of a few dozen different character models that you use and all of that stuff. And then you fight dragons or whatever, and they actually look like dragons, which is really nice.
Exactly. It really does kind of expand the game massively. So, but let's get into it. Let's get into the good and the bad. And I'll start obviously with the good, because I think there's a lot of good. First and foremost, they took what made the first games great and they improved on it. You still build a party yourself. You import, in this case, from Death Knights of Krynn is where you bring your party in from. With most of the same gear, you always lose a little bit, but that's fine. So we're still doing that. You succeeded in your last adventure. Let's load up and go out on a new one. But graphics and sound are better. As Tom just mentioned, you no longer have to build a character. You just pre-select one, and there's a good selection here that you can choose from. And this makes the game feel a bit more modern, feel a bit different. the sounds were heavily improved.
Sound Blaster, in between years, we had, this is not something people think about, whether you're a console gamer or a PC gamer today.
No idea what buying a sound card was.
Right, yes. Right. Like if you build a PC today, it's very important to get the right graphics card for the type of monitor you have and the resolution and the frame rate that you want to play at and all of that. But before graphics cards were a thing, we were inserting sound cards into our PCs. And Sound Blaster was like the big granddaddy of all of them, but it could do actual sounds that kind of sounded like real music or maybe even voices. It was a huge upgrade. And this game supports it. You can still play it in the beep boop sounds, but you can also play with the Sound Blaster settings. And it actually sounds like real music and actual drums and things like that. Yeah. It sounds ridiculous to say now, but that was huge back then.
It really was. And that's the thing I want people to understand. Like this was having good sound out of it. And they weren't great speakers, by the way, but getting good sound out of them was a humongous change for a lot of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing, too, is the setting and the story were great. It is a really good setting. You've got, because we're in Dragonland, so I've got dragons, draconians, knights, white and red wizards. All of that's there. So, which is why Dragonlance was, for those who don't know D&D, Dragonlance as a setting was a bit more expansive than some of the other ones. You could have, it just was a bit more fun. That's why a lot of us like to play in it. At the same time, we also increased the level cap. We're going all the way to level 18, which in D&D is a very high level. At level 18, your THAC0 goes to 0. If you, which means
you're becoming gods at that point.
Exactly. And they brought in a lot of super powered spells. Delayed Blast Fireball, Power Word Kill, Meteor Swarm, Blade Barrier. You also get better weaponry, two-handed swords +4, Cloaks of Displacement, Bracers AC2, because sometimes you're wearing a tunic, and it's nice to not just get wrecked for wearing your tunic.
Sure.
And then, of course, Dragon Lances. So you're getting like which are like strong weapons.
The superpower weapons against dragons.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, a character with a Dragon Lance can do massive damage to dragons, and dragons are some of the most difficult monsters you're going to come across, generally speaking.
Despite, for those who don't know what a lance is the thing that you hold while riding on a horse in a jousting competition. Right. It's a little confusing how this thing would work in combat, but I don't care. It's still fun.
Yeah. It's like a really long spear.
Yeah, but just oddly shaped. It's just a long cone.
Right,
yeah,
it's like a cone.
You're fighting with an extended traffic cone, but that's not important for now.
Right.
Game's fun. You also get a lot better enemies. So you actually, I think you fight a Kraken. You fight giant squid. For some reason, I think you might fight a Kraken or the Kraken. I'm trying to
Kraken adjacent types of things.
But you've got liches, iron golems, which are a pain in the ass, fire giants, enchanted draconians now, which blow up, which, those things can be the boss one. Not a huge fan of. And you're all over the place. You're fighting underwater. You're fighting above ground. You're doing all these things. It's all to basically stop a dark god. So the game is exceptionally fun and well written. What else, Tom? What did I miss?
Yeah. Well, on the well written part, and it's more streamlined than the previous one I played. And I know there've been lots of additions between the two. We did the first and the last. But the idea that you enter into the game, instead of it taking you through the town and being like, here's all the buildings you need to go to. Instead, you just choose I want to go to the temple. So you click temple and you just go to the temple. Oh, I want to go to the pub. Okay, go to the pub. I want to go to the inn. Okay, now I'm in the inn. Like that right from the beginning. And then on top of it, it's okay, you leave and it's like, okay, this is where you're going on your adventure. Now walk through a forest. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like there's not so much just like wandering around going, okay, what am I supposed to do next? It's more of just, now it's not super intuitive all the way. It's, I still forgot that I had to memorize spells. So the first time I was in combat, I was like, how do I do magic? Crap. I don't have any spells memorized.
Womp.
This is D&D. You have to memorize your spells. I thought, the items, it already gave me items, so I already probably have spells equipped. Nope. That was an assumption I probably shouldn't have made. So we'll get into more of those details. But right off the bat, I love the upgrade to the graphics and art, just like I talked about before. 256 colors makes a huge difference. I think the resolution might even be a little bit sharper. Mm-hmm. Also, you can use a mouse for the first time.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
A mouse.
You can click on buttons instead of just clicking the number on the keypad. But you can also, when you're walking through the forest, we have to describe this for people. These games were designed mostly with information And then sometimes a little window that would have a character or the scene that you're looking at or whatever. And that was like a fourth the size of the screen because it was mostly information. But in that little corner, you actually have trees and buildings and a doorway and a monster shows up or whatever. And that just adding that in here makes it so much more enjoyable. Yeah, and I agree. I think a lot of people are probably going to hear that and they're going to go, why would you design games like that when games today are so very graphically driven? And I think you have to remember that back in this era, anyone who had played D&D was used to theater of the mind. They were used to...
That's a great point.
Right. Yes. Like they were used to, like at the most, you had a board in front of you with little figures that you moved around on a map. And the rest of it was playing out in your imagination. And the PC D&D experience was very much an outcropping of an outgrowth of that, where we were all expected that most of this is still taking place in our imagination and we're filling in the blanks. But the more and more you go through the 90s, the more you have graphics showing the things rather than you just having to imagine it. And this was a big step in that direction. Yeah. And the font's better. It's not this weird looking font anymore. The whole timing, it's much more readable.
You can read it every time. Yeah.
Yep. Also, you can use a mouse. I did mention that. Also, more details fit on the screen, so there's less going back and forth between things to look at stuff. Also, did I mention that you can use a mouse? Yeah. That part's great.
It is. People are saying like mouse is actually a new thing. We're talking when you're used to MS-DOS, there's no need for a mouse.
Right. You just type in the commands.
We had joysticks.
Yes.
That's the thing to remember. When you're talking about the 80s, we would buy, and they got expensive too. You would get a joysticks for your flight simulators.
Yeah.
But there's no need for a mouse. What's a mouse for?
Yeah, but this, you can even click the direction you want to walk in, and then you just move into the next little cell. Because this game
predates Windows.
Right. And yet they were starting to include mice in DOS and DOS games, which was huge. This one also still has a huge manual and a journey document, whatever that was called, and a hint guide.
Adventurer's Journal. Adventurer's Journal, yeah. And then Clue Book, and then and your manual.
Yeah.
I play these games a lot, guys.
Yeah, and after the last one, John sent me it immediately. He's like, "Oh, here you go. Here's the files for the."
Yeah, I just have these on my computer at all times whenever anyone needs it. Yeah, don't worry.
Which was super useful because when I was playing it, I got one of those questions where they were like, "Go to this page, look for the 6th word on the page, and type it in order to prove that you have the manual so you can play this game." Which was their way of just making sure that you weren't pirating things.
Yeah, because this is before the PDF was invented. So, suck it.
Yeah, So I legitimately had to go through the manual and find, I think the word was intelligence or something. I had to type it in. Now, like I said before, navigating the towns was easier. There's less of just wandering around trying to figure out where you're supposed to go. Or remembering, like, was this the temple building? And then you're like, crap. Nope, it's something else. And the battle screen fits more stuff on it. You can use a mouse, by the way. Also, the biggest thing, at the beginning, when you leave the town and start on your journey, like I mentioned before, it just takes you where you're supposed to go. And you can just start exploring. And it just gets you there way faster.
Yeah, it is. That is nice. That is a little bit better than some of the random wandering of earlier games. Yeah.
But, and I didn't put this on our notes, but the other thing I think is definitely an improvement is the battle screen. There's it feels like there's more room. The characters are just slightly smaller, and it's still got this weird pseudo isometric thing, which makes it a little bit weird to move around at first until you figure out how that works. But it pans more. You can see more stuff. The effects of the things you do still blip on the screen really fast, but I can actually read them now, which is a nice improvement.
Yes.
That stuff, even the spell effects are cool. Like one of the first enemies you will come across are a group of dragons, and they will cast lightning, and the lightning will bounce from one character to the next. And you can trace it around and be like, oh yeah, okay, those guys got hit. Okay, I got to watch out for that. So a lot of those improvements absolutely stand out compared to the first one. You can tell that things have evolved.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not all good. And I will have to call out some of the problems of this game. So as much as I love this game, and I do, the increase in graphics seemed to be a major focus of the developers. And the gameplay itself is a bit of like a Lemmings situation where levels in combat, in my opinion, were created with no thought of, is this beatable?
Right.
There are campaigns where defeating the boss is really a matter of luck rather than skill, because what happens is if the wrong enemy caster goes first and gets a spell off where you can hit them, that battle's over.
Right.
Though you've got like half your squad's in a stinking cloud, or they do delayed blast fireball and your whole squad's down like 70% of their health, and there's just no way to come back from it. It's not.
Yeah.
And so you just lose that battle. And
well, the first battle is really hard. And yes, the first time I did the first battle, I forgot to equip magic. But later on going back, I still died almost immediately to some of those attacks. It wasn't like you might go, okay, well, yeah, you're new to it, Tom. You didn't think to move your characters or position them right. No, it was just my characters were positioned where they were positioned when the battle started. I got one character who got an attack on one of the dragons. The next dragon casts a lightning spell. And my Kender, the little halflings in Dragonlance, my Kender thief, just dead. Boom, dead right there. First battle.
I mean, I'll be honest, I've been playing this game a lot longer than you have, obviously. Yeah, that first battle's taken me out a couple times, and I know it's coming. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Then you go to the underwater battles and some of the later ones. And that's kind of the theme for the game, unfortunately, is people refer to it as being much more hack and slash than other ones. And if you read the reviews of the game, they're very mixed. Some people, like me, really love the game for what it is. Others, though, you can kind of tell at the time, were D&D players, felt that when this one came out, it was the least D&D of the group because it felt more like we're just throwing challenges at you. And it may have been the case, if I'm being honest. It may have been, I don't know the story of why this was the last one. Was the contract up and they had to throw an extra game out? Or was this game the reason the contract expires? I don't know that. But there is an element of this thing's hard. This thing feels a bit more like a...
Yeah, I have to wonder how much there's actually a connection. This doesn't justify it, but think about playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons with characters that are that high level. And then think
That's
about...
the problem.
I mean, if you were to just take 3 dragons and put them in there against characters at whatever level they started at here... There is a very real chance if you're the DM and you're just doing what you're supposed to do with those characters to make them a difficult fight, that you can just stomp the enemy or like the player characters very easily. And one of the things that happens in D&D is that the DM's job isn't to beat the characters. The DM's job is to make an exciting and fun play experience.
Exactly.
And so when you have a human being making those decisions, they can pull it back a little bit. They can create... In fact, as the DM, you could even say things like, oh, like you entered a situation and the dragon normally would be able to do this here right now, but the cave fell in front of it and now the path is blocked. You can do things like that, make it actually accommodate so it's not annoying to the players. And I have to wonder if that's a piece of this, is that they're just dropping a bunch of things that on paper look like, okay, this is an adequate difficulty level for where we're at, but the game's not that balanced that you could just put it on autoplay and the players would always win,
Exactly. And that's where I think ends up happening here.
Yeah.
But that's really, to me, it's the only real complaint. I think it's just as good as the other gold box games. I love this game, but I will admit, like, it can be hard to beat. And at times the point where even you're like, can you even beat this level? And you have to kind of go back and forth a few different times. There's some fights with the Djinns that are really brutal in the game. For example, the enchanted draconians, some of them explode when you kill them.
Right.
And they also like to run up to you and fight you. So there's no way to kill them.
They're like kamikaze.
Without your character being right there. So when they blow up, some of them, like your weapon will get stuck in them. That's fine. That's the best case scenario. But some are shoot off mini fireball spells around them. Others turn to giant pools of acid. And so that's enough to actually kill your characters.
Right.
And it can be, and then there's is it Azarek Draconian, whatever, the caster one? That guy sucks because you have to kill him 3 times. Well, you kill him once, then he arrives in a new form which basically has fire shield on it. So every time you hit him, you take damage. Then when you kill that, he's a ticking time bomb to explode. And when he explodes, there's a lot of damage, but he'll stay still. So you basically have to kill him. And then the next turn, move all your characters away from him because when it explodes, it takes you out.
Right. It's the sort of thing you fail the first time and then you go, oh, okay, I have to do that.
Yeah, you learn that tactic quick. Yeah.
And that's how a lot of these games, especially on the PC, a lot of those early PC games were really rough. Like the idea that you learn through losing was a core tenet, whether you're talking like Sierra adventure games or tactics games like this, or RPGs plus tactics. I call this a tactics game because the actual fighting feels like a tactics game.
Yeah. Totally agree.
But it's also an RPG and more tactical than something like Final Fantasy 1, because you're just two lines of enemies facing each other. There's very little positioning or anything that happens in that. But yeah, so I already talked about some of the things that I thought were a little bit rough. This game, much like the previous one, still has that like high learning curve. It feels like I'm translating a language I haven't spoken in 30 years, which is basically the same kind of thing. But I noticed a lot of the stuff you're talking about. It's just really hard. And sometimes you are not equipped for the fight that you're going into. Or, man, I really should have memorized that other spell because it would have made this fight a lot easier. That kind of stuff.
Right.
That happens. And I don't know. Other than that, it's just like you really have to be committed to want to push your way through this type of game, or you're going to bounce off of it. You're going to wonder, like, where is the fun? And the fun is the fantasy experience, and it's also the tenacity to just keep banging your head against the wall until you get through it. I think there's some of that there.
The story is still good, at least. It's not complete hack and slash. You do get a good story, but yeah, there are some battles and there's just some elements where you're like, man, this is tough. And it's not Final Fantasy where you can just go into the forest and level up. I mean, you can, but you also need to find better equipment. It's just a bit more of a challenge.
And you need the right equipment for the right enemy. That's another piece of Dungeons and Dragons is if you don't cast a spell that works against that enemy who's resilient against everything else you have,
then there's no point.
Then you're not going to win. You just won't win the fight.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, but these are more friction points than they are.
That's my thing too. When I read the negative reviews in the game, it's all this stuff. It's people saying, oh, the game's a little bit too hard. The game steers me a bit more than I want to be steered. I want a bit more open world. It's not, hey, this is poorly done. The game apparently was bugged, but whatever. It was 1992.
It's the same conversation we have about music. We go through this every time. It's not that the game was poorly designed. It was just designed for people who like this combination of things. Exactly. And maybe that was accidental on some level of the designers, but that's what it is. And there are people who like that. There are people who like modern pop country, not us, but there are. Right. And so for them, that's great music. So enjoy it. It would be silly for me to go to a modern pop country artist's social media page and be like, wow, this really sucks. It's not for me.
Exactly.
What's the point?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, what are you judging this thing for? It's not exactly the stuff I like. Yeah, it's not supposed to be.
Well, we don't choose what we like. We just discover what we like. So good job. But yeah. Okay. So who do you think should play this one? Do you think people I think this is an interesting way to look at it. Do you think people should go back and play Pool of Radiance first, or should people jump in here? And I say that with the warning to our audience that you are starting off with very high level characters. Yeah. And you kind of need to know what their stuff and their spells do.
It's tough.
Like this is more approachable, but you also have to know more about what your party's capable of at the same time.
No matter what. So it's a Pool of Darkness is the number 4 in Forgotten Realms, and then Dark Queen of Krynn is the number 3 in Dragonlance. There's a second Forgotten Realms one in there as well. I would never play on the last one. I would always go from the beginning and play your way through. That way you level your characters up and you know the game better. So I would say that. Yeah. As far as the settings go, I would do the Krynn settings. I would not do the Forgotten. If you had to pick only one of them, I'd put you in the Dragonlance. I think they're better games. I think they're more interesting. The Forgotten Realms ones are fine, but they get a little at a certain point.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But of the two, you're fine either way. The truth is you really should play all of them. If you like D&D, you will end up playing all of them. If you don't like D&D, you probably shouldn't play these games.
And
I will caveat with that one.
Yeah, and let's be specific about that. If you're someone who likes the D&D setting, D&D lore, but you don't like the nuanced nitty-gritty stuff about managing spellcasters and the positioning of your thief and all of that stuff, then if you don't like the tactical side of D&D, don't play it.
Yeah, this is really a tactical D&D game. It's maybe some of the best. These are the best ones ever made. They just are. Sorry, Baldur's Gate 3. They just are. It is what it is. Now, would I Yeah, so I think that was my recommendation. I think if you like D&D, I would go play the Krynn series, but you'll probably end up playing both, is my expectation, unless you just can't manage DOSBox, which case I also don't judge you. That's fine.
But you can play it in a browser. I was able to do both in a browser, and it worked out fine. The other, and you, like you said last week, you can get them on Steam, so you can do that. The other thing I think is wise about this is playing the Krynn ones, because they came out later, means that the interface is more polished, and that it's still difficult to learn all the D&D stuff if you don't know it, but learning the interface is a lot easier on those, and then going back and learning, okay, they didn't add these other convenience things in the older games, and then that's less of a jump. It's less steep. So yeah, I think that makes sense. That makes sense to me. All right. Well, there you go. If you like D&D, go play these games. And I would love, I know there are some of our listeners who have been playing through the games with us. Again, I would love your perspectives and your comments about playing these.
I
want to hear your stories. I want to hear if you beat the dragons the first time, because I definitely didn't.
Yeah. Those are rough.
All right.
Those are extra rough.
Well, we'll be back in just a second. We'll take a quick break. Then we'll be back with your comments. And man, you guys have some great comments, and keep them coming. We'll be right back.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
All right, we are back. And if you enjoy our stuff, then, well, first of all, help us out. Share the show with a friend, leave a 5-star review. And we don't have that many reviews on Apple, and you don't need to be listening on Apple Podcasts. But if you happen to have an account, you can log in and leave us a 5-star review on there. That would be amazing, because those get dispersed across the internet. Or just leave another comment and a 5-star review on Spotify or anywhere else that you're listening. And if you also like our stuff, then check out our other shows. John does the 40K Lorecast and the history of 40K. I do the Fallout Lorecast, the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, and the Lord of the Rings Lorecast. And we'd love to have you come join us over in those communities as well. All right, John, we've got some other fun comments. We've got comments coming in from Aladdin and Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. Brian says on the Aladdin episode, if John wants to see someone suffer even more than he did related to apple kills on enemies, he should check out the Backlogs YouTube video where he did a challenge run to win using only apples. So Aladdin throwing only apples at people. Love the casts. Keep them coming.
That's just brutal.
I mean, I'll take your phrase. I'll be honest. I killed most of my enemies with apples because it was just easier.
It's fine. But those later levels will get hard.
They do. You got to change it up. All right. Finn is back on the Star Wars episode, says, just to make you feel sad, Tom, if you use the 15-year rule, Skyrim is a retro game for the 15 year. I guess, is that a thing? The 15-year rule? Yes,
I mean, that's
you're right.
15 years is usually how things retro, but
yeah, I've read a few different definitions for retro, but yeah, I get that. And this comes up all the time on the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, where we're like, oh my God, Skyrim's so old at this point. Also, how is it that Mario Sunshine coming along, and if you haven't started it, how many games are you doing before playing it? No delaying. Finn is on our butts.
Finn is all in on Mario Sunshine. We're going to end up getting to Mario Sunshine. We're doing one more chunk after this, and we might get to it shortly thereafter.
We have so many games to cover, but
there's a lot. Yeah.
Don't worry, we're not going to avoid it. It'll come up at some point. Bucklar or Buckkiller. I think Buckkiller sounds funnier. The Aladdin episode says, keep up the great episodes. Really enjoy the show. Went to local Gamescom and they had loads of old school consoles, including a Mega Drive with Mega CD and 32X in it. I have a photo of it. It was impressive looking.
That's cool. My father sent me a picture the other day. I guess he was cleaning out the attic and he found my Sega Genesis. He was like, do you want this? And I was like, I don't know how to make that work on my TV. No, I'm good. But I appreciate it. And it looked like it had been outside, if I'm being honest. But that's
like it was all faded, like the plastic was all
just
weird.
It was just dirty. I'm like, where? Like, it's an attic. How did it? Whatever. Whatever.
Not your attic.
Yeah.
Thanks, Buckler. Charles the Monkey says Star Wars has 2 timelines that converge from the 2014 Disney acquisition, canon. Everything before that is Legends or the expanded universe. So yes, that is correct. Like that is a thing.
Non-canon. Thank you.
Right.
I was wondering.
But also the game is non-canon, but I love listening to y'all trying to rationalize Han's double jump. Yeah, that was the thing, is that we both knew it was non-canon, but we really wanted to lean into the idea that everything is canon and how funny that is. Right.
It just wasn't like, wait, does this classify? Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's hilarious. If every little offshoot of everything, it just has to be canon, because people are like, we do lore shows. People get super obsessed about what is canon and what is not canon. And that just comes up over and over and over again. So to both of us, we're like, well, it's all canon. So there you go.
Yeah, I do.
And that's
40K.
super not satisfying.
In 40K, kind of all is canon. That's what makes 40K tough.
Yeah, there's lots of novels by different writers from different years.
Novels.
Yeah.
500 novels, maybe a couple hundred codexes.
Oh, it's a lot of stuff.
It adds up quick. And you're like, oh, that's the way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So go listen to our other shows. I'm sure we both discuss canonicity fairly regularly. Thank you, Charles, for that one. Dr. Wilkins on the Star Wars episode says, got to do one on Batman Forever for the SNES. You should do it co-op for a real test of metal. I don't think John and I can make that work for co-op because we don't live near each other, but maybe somebody else would play with us.
That's a very challenging one. But yeah, the Batman Forever was super fun. That was a really good game.
I don't remember if I played that one.
Very good. Yeah. Very, very good game. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I played the earlier Batman games, but I don't know if I played that one.
Yeah. So, Batman Forever was... That's right. That was the one where they had nipples on the armor, and no one could figure out why. I was like, how tight is this?
Because edgy Hollywood. It's bullet resistant, but it's also tight enough to show nipples.
Yeah, it was very, very odd. It's all right. Val Kilmer was a treat. Yep.
Yeah. Buckler is back on the Star Wars episode, says, how you talking about Star Wars reminds me of the chaos that was Zool. I went back to it today and noped it within 10 minutes.
I don't know. Zool.
When I hear Zool, I think Ghostbusters. Are you a god?
Yeah.
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god,
you say yes. It's very, very, very good. Wow. Alien Ninja Gremlin. I'm learning this as we speak.
Yeah.
It's fine. Oh, I have never played this, but I'm aware of it. That's the best way to explain it. Okay. Yeah.
All right. There's more. Well, you look at that. I'll read the rest. Yeah. A month of RPGs. I've been trying to play all the games you play to either remember or find out about them. SNES game I only recently played on Switch Online was Earthbound, and it has a bit of a cult status. Yep, that one's very popular. So I'm interested in what you guys, in your list, and to see what else to play next. I'm loving the podcast and also finding Finn's weekly Mario Sunshine request. Keep it up. That's funny. I love the interplay between people commenting. That's always fun. So Zool looks a little crazy.
Zool's odd. I was not even aware this game existed. You're an alien ninja gremlin. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds very of its time.
This will be hard.
Christian Farmer says, for John from 40K Lorecast, wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
Enough. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's an orc thing. And
okay.
Orcs are fun.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. Got it. Brian MC on the Star Wars episode says, Tom and John need a month with 2 of their favorites each after this month of suffering. Yeah. But RPG month will be fun. I mean, that's pretty much what this was. Any plans to compare remakes like original Star Fox versus N64 Star Fox to see if they actually improved or if the games got clunkier, graphics didn't age well, etc.?
Wait a couple minutes.
Speaking of Star Fox, we might be playing that coming up.
Wait a couple minutes.
So we'll just say that for now. Logan says, started in the 40K Lorecast, made it here, and now on The Hobbit in the Lord of the Rings Lorecast. You guys make my week that much better.
Yay.
Makes me enjoy my daily driving. Well, thanks, Logan.
That's great.
That's awesome. Badrinin?
Yeah.
Bad Renan says, I love the show, number one. Number two, Daggerfall was the second Elder Scrolls game. Battlespire and Redguard are ES adventures. So you want to hear a fun quirk about the way my brain works? And I do this all the time on the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. It makes me sound like an idiot. But because Daggerfall and Battlespire feel phonetically similar, they swap places in my brain all the time.
Okay.
It's super dumb. It doesn't make any sense. But for some reason, like when I have to pull them really quickly, I always pull the opposite name. Even though I know if somebody else says it, I'm like, oh, that's that one. Yeah. So I misspoke on that episode, but thank you for calling that out. Jesse Newman says, I recently got my partner onto your podcast solely because of your Eco, Lion King, and Aladdin episodes. This is awesome, John. Those are three of her childhood nostalgic games. Yes, she must have suffered, LOL. I was born in the early mid 80s, grew up in the 90s. So I'm right here with both of you looking back on these great and sometimes terrible games. Never stop doing this podcast. Keep up the great work. Jesse, that's awesome. I feel so bad for her. Yeah.
Oh, that's rough. I love these games. You should not play something fun.
Can you? It's like I don't know. It's like training. If you start somebody off on really hard stuff and then ease up at some point to normal things, all of a sudden that feels refreshing and easy in comparison. It's kind of like that.
Well, it reminds me. I had a friend of mine. I used to, because of the jiu-jitsu, I have a lot of pro fighter friends, and a friend of his had, his brother had 2 professional fights and then quit fighting because I'm terrible at this. His 2 professional fights were against Chuck Liddell and Rampage Jackson.
They just,
you get the hell beat out of him. Like, okay, and you assumed, okay, I'm bad at this. I just won't do it ever again. Fast forward 6 years, like, damn it. It's not my fault.
You're as bad as 99.9% of other people.
Yes, just had no idea. I lost those terribly. Obviously, I shouldn't do this.
Right. Yeah, I tried to punch Superman in the face and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, surprise. 2 more. We've got Mr. Teal who says, and this is the Aladdin episode, I love your show. I only had a PC and Game Boy as a kid, but I relate to experiencing games at friends' houses. I've recently gotten into retro gaming, going back and playing all the old Pokemon games. I only played Red as a kid, so I'm only getting the nostalgia with that game, but they've all been really great RPGs. Yeah. I don't know. Did you miss the Pokemon bandwagon thing? Yeah.
Well, so it's weird. I personally missed it, but I have a younger brother who didn't. So I got pulled into it that way. And so I'm aware of it more, and I played around with it a bit. It's the same like with Magic the Gathering. I played original Magic the Gathering, and so I tried replaying it recently. I'm like, nope.
Yeah. I was slightly, I mentioned this before, I was slightly older than the Pokemon audience when Pokemon came out. But because I was a young dad in the early 2000s and through the mid 2000s, my daughter got into playing Pokemon games. And so I had that like adjacent experience where it was like, oh, which one did you catch? Which one is your starter on this? And got to kind of enjoy her enjoyment of it. So that was fun. Last one, Kai says on the Star Wars episode, absolutely loving the podcast, just a nonstop nostalgia trip. Never played much Nintendo before meeting my wife. Watching her on Mario is wild. A few games that stick out from my youth are Streets of Rage, Kid Chameleon, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and Hogs of War. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. Definitely need an Old Man Brad episode just to hear John raise his blood pressure.
Yes.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, so Streets of Rage, I played a lot. Streets of Rage was super fun, actually. It was
a side-scrolling puncher, beat 'em up.
Double Dragon. It was Cygnus, Double Dragon. Kid Chameleon was a bit of a weirder game.
Wasn't that an NES like platformer?
I think it was a Genesis, actually, if I'm not mistaken, on Kid Chameleon. I'm not 100% though. It's I'm pretty sure it was Genesis. Okay. But yeah, Kid Chameleon was a very odd game where you would change what you were into something else. Fun game. Yeah, because it's right. The kid is having an identity crisis. That's right. And it was an odd game. Roller Coaster Tycoon was not my thing, but I respect it.
I don't know that I played the first one, but I think I played some of them and I've dabbled with them. It was one, like, my wife is a number of years younger than I am. This was one of those that was like right in her wheelhouse when she got her first laptop or whatever. And then she would make all the different rides and then torture people, if I recall correctly. This person gets on this. There's no bathroom on the line to get on this roller coaster, but now this roller coaster takes 4 hours to complete. And they get off and then they just pee on the sidewalk because they have to pee so bad.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
And Hogs of War is kind of like Worms. It's a goofy game where you are a pig in, it's like World War I style. It's funny. It's meant to be funny. I remember the name. Playing that. I remember playing that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, thank you everybody for your comments. This is always fun to hear your thoughts and reactions. And I can't wait to get the RPG game responses, especially once we get to these PC games.
Oh, yeah. The people, they're either going to be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, or they're going to come out of the woodwork on us and be like, yes. I and if you still have a DOS box.
Yeah, if you are playing these games along with us and you played some of the shorter games that we've been playing, but now you've been playing through these RPGs, I absolutely want to hear your experience on that, because some of these are massive. And yeah, very, very cool to thank you, first of all, for being here, but also playing along with us. I think that is so cool. But John, what are we doing coming up?
So we're doing a shift over again. This time we're doing a different genre. We're called vehicle-based games. The first one we're going to do is Star Fox. Star Fox is maybe the most, for our generation, the most famous of that. If you get a little bit younger than us, then it would have been Mario Kart. Obviously, we still played Mario Kart, but Mario Kart's also a racing game. It's a little bit different. But Star Fox was the first one. And I'll be honest, that game was hard for me. As a kid, I did not do well with Star Fox. So this will be interesting going back and trying it again. I do not look forward to that weird bird talking to me.
Or what was the frog name? Flippy? What was his name?
Yeah, the frog and the bird. I just remember those two. Like they had a lot of opinions. Yeah, they both had a lot of opinions. That's what I remember.
Yeah. They're on me again, Fox. Help. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, this will be fun. We're going to be doing a variety of different vehicle-based games. Mm-hmm. So think about what that might cover. We might hit it in this next 4 weeks of games. So we've got that coming up. And thanks again for being here. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you later.
Mm-hmm. See you guys then.
Recall.
Robots Radio. Games. Lore. Stories. Community. Just press play.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.